So as we come up to the Saturn rulership of Saturn, where it's most comfortable in the winter signs of Capricorn and Aquarius, it's really, these are the ambitious, the inhibited Capricorn who is ambitious. The Saturn in Capricorn is going to be very strategic and use their Saturn, use their authority very strongly, very strictly. And in Aquarius, it's going to be used logically. I'm going to have a plan. I'm going to make this plan work. I'll treat this because I see what's needed. And you're going to use an intelligent approach to responsibility. Or it can be peer pressure. It can be any of the Aquarian things coming in to affect the Saturn. But you're trying to establish a respect to responsibility, your discipline. What am I going to work towards? And when you're working with the positive things of that sign, and those attitudes come in, you'll succeed more. When you're going against it, you'll get this sense of depression. This seems like a dead end. Why am I doing this? Why am I staying in this job? No, there's no growth here. So these are, people have generally tend to have long-term plans they work on. They have these big commitments. So if they're in a relationship, they have their long-term commitments. They're not going to be as frivolous as, or as more like Saturn in Cancer or Leo would be much more immediate. I got to have the security. I got to have this. They'll take the commitments more immediately. But the Saturn and Capricorn, of course, will make sure they have the insurance with the job or work with what they have. Yeah, so it's hard when you're working with a person's chart. It's a little easier to hold the Saturn, the sense of Saturn responsibility. When talking it generally to all the signs, it's easy to see when its presence is in a person's life. Here's this anchor. Here's this thing. Oh my, it's there. I have my, so like you can see, once you see it, you notice it, but you wouldn't necessarily project, oh, you got to be just like this or you got to be just like that. You're looking to see where someone's most serious, what hits the nerves. You might get hints by how they get along with their father, what kind of work you do. Have you done any preparation for where you are? Have you done any preparation for this lifetime? You know, for where you are in your life? Did you get your education to get a job, or if not, what are you doing to compensate so you can still get a job? Or so many things. I've pushed it mostly around work, accomplishment, jobs, but it can be measuring at this age what I'm doing. So there's some women will get up by the time they get to menopause. It's a big deal. Some people are very efficient at dealing with it. Some people never thought they'd have to deal with it, and they're still thinking they're 10 years, 15 years younger than they are, and menopause comes in, they're having to adjust their lifestyle. Different types of control, a depression and a need for responsibility and effort. The need for that effort, it's just, Saturn is always what's missing, what's needed, what you need to work for. And as your work ethic is tight, if you didn't need to, why would you work at something? So you work at things you can see it's going to lead to something. When Jupiter aligns with Saturn, your understanding is backing up. I can do this. Yeah, I can see how I can do it, how it's going to be good. And it begins to encourage and align with Saturn to see how it's good. And then it can guide Mars better. Oh, you're wasting too much time here. Let's work at this. Let's put this class in. Let's do this. So you're taking restrictions in time so that you get expansions further on and accomplishments further on. So short-term pain for long-term gain is one of Saturn's common themes. But it's not a clear puzzle. Like, what have you done with your life? Wow, so much. What have I accomplished? How come someone's got this job? Like, you can be a single person, and you can be, say you're a woman and you're hitting 30 or 40, you're approaching 40, and everybody knows married and got their couple of kids, and you haven't got married yet. You haven't had a kid yet. So at 39, this voice comes out. If you want a kid, I better have a kid. Anybody will do it, doesn't matter. I just want to have the kid because I don't want to miss that experience. And sometimes someone comes in, it works, sometimes it doesn't. But that's part of the midlife adjustment. And if there's not a kid, what's next? Well, sometimes those restrictions of not having a kid motivate a person to work at something so they can work with kids and help other people's kids that have problems to help them. And boy, it fixes things. You know, so we mature, we grow through things like the stuff we would put up with when they're 18. We're just happy at 18, 19. We're happy to be, even 15, 16. We're happy to be away from authority people, without teachers telling us what to do, parents telling us anything is okay, as long as it's not that. But the longer we do that, the more we hold ourselves back. But once we get out of that period, that growth period, we don't want to go back to being like that. We see well, we were lucky to get through that. Or we were unlucky because we didn't get through that. So Always there's this two sides with Saturn, but it's really not a, it's, in a way it's where the problems and the difficulties show up in your chart. It's where you're going to be serious, but it's also the place where you start to, where your depression turns into ambition, where your inhibition turns to ambition, where you find what you have to work on. So in that way, it gives you the intent to be disciplined, and the need to be, and where you need to be, and the style in which you need to be disciplined. And so you look at all the people around, how many people aren't disciplined at all and just winging their life, and how many people are really, the people who are really accomplished, they've had to click into discipline at some level to be able to make it work properly. Okay, so I've run through this all. We've got 15 minutes left. I'm just going to try, I want to follow this theme, like, so when you're doing someone's chart, if you don't have a time, like with the American style, you got the houses, everything's interpreted through the houses. So if you don't know the time, you got to figure out something so you can use some houses to get some interpretation. But if you take that away, you still have a lot of information with the planets and the signs. You see the attitudes coming to affect the planets. You don't always see the specific areas, but you still can work with the healing. These are the healing factors to align to the sign of the zodiac that your planet's in and get it working better in those signs. To take away the extremes to make it work for Saturn is to make it work more efficiently, effectively, practically, to accomplish things. So the wasting time, the boredom, the depression, those are all the obstacles one has to overcome to get there. And usually a long-term goal or big commitment, well, by the time you get a mortgage, it's easy to justify working for 30 years. But if you're going to take a mortgage, you may as well have the kids and the house and have all the things there, and you have all these commitments to do. That makes a big commitment, makes relationships last a long time. But if you're not ready for a big commitment, it's hard to hold a relationship together if you're avoiding commitments. So it's not like Saturn is positive. It's there in the chart. We live up to it, or don't we live, or we don't live up to it. We clue in, but we don't usually clue in until we feel the system's against us. Nothing's fair. That's it. And then we have to work to overcome the obstacle, to climb the mountain, to get prepared to climb the mountain. But if I'm going to climb that mountain, if I want to be a musician, I'm working at the bank, but I really just want to be a musician, I better take classes for 4 or 5 years till I get good with the instrument, and maybe I can get the band working on the side and do some things to have fun on the weekends. And then eventually, if it's making enough money, I can leave the other job. Or someone more radical might say, well, I got an instrument, I took a class, I'm a couple months into this, I don't want the job, I want to take the band and try and do it, and they won't get as much done or be as successful. So this timing, this is Saturn, when to make the change, when to work things, but always in music, knowing the scales, knowing the basics, knowing your instrument, it makes for more success. Winging it doesn't. So whenever you run across something you can't do, the challenge is to back up and make yourself more capable of doing it, or not accept that judgment, even though it means, oh, a lot of people, they get older, oh, it's too late, I can't go study now, I can't go back to school now. But why not? Sometimes it's very valid. No, or what am I going to do for my next job? Oh, I just lost my job. What will I do for the next one? All these puzzles come up, but we're carrying a certain, how much responsibility are you carrying now? How much weight do you have? How many time demands do you have? We get so many time demands in life for kids, for home, for things. There's hardly any time for ourselves. Or conversely, we're just putting time for ourselves and we're not doing anything for others. Like, these are Saturn dilemmas, but if your backbone isn't strong, there's a limit to how much you can accomplish. If you haven't got disciplines and you haven't worked up something, how can you work with others? It's easier then to get disassociated and justify a lot of negative things that puts you onto the losing edge in society. But even that losing edge, even when you're in that losing edge, you're not fitting in, you're disassociated, you're not happy, there's still challenges that can come up that you can work at to change your life. But Saturn is that, what am I going to work at next? Not why bother, I don't feel like working. Pass the joint. You know, so like this work, the work ethic, the self-discipline, the ability to discipline yourself, to do without things, to get something, to make a commitment, put time demands in, accept them and work with them and let go of other things that are distracting it. That steady work daily accomplishes a lot. You know, like if you're trying to save money, you put, you know, like $5 a day away. Well, it's going to accumulate a lot. but it'd be less of a chance that once a month you're going to put $100, $200 in. You're not going to so likely do that. But once you get into a disciplined life, if you're going to be a writer, if you get used to writing every day and you get the discipline of your life, so eating at regular times, getting the right sleep, not too little, not too much, so you're not getting tired, Saturn thing. You have to control the other things and discipline, like a father has to discipline the family and take the job and carry things. You have to do that for yourself, to eat properly, to sleep properly, to time your things so that you can fix your life, fix your health. Make yourself more responsible. If you can carry your own weight, you're not going to drain other people. Wow. Imagine meeting someone that doesn't drain you and is carrying their own weight and would keep you company around that. That's good work. That's good companionship.